Andy, we did a piece of three of us this morning online, 5 Burning Rangers questions for Danny Rowe on Sunday, so I can just go over a couple of them. Pick your midfield 2 from 3, Raskin, Diomande, Chukwuani. Obviously, Chukwuani, £4 million just over in January, so you would think that, you know, he would be in the running. Raskin plays well against Celtic, but hasn't played, you know, he's not been at his best in every game. I suppose there is an argument here why he's only raising himself for the big occasion. Should he not be doing it more in games like Sunday? And then Diomande, a lot of people probably think maybe he's been harshly dropped to the bench. Do you stick with, is it better the devil you know, Raskin and Diomande, 2 who have done well in this fixture? And then you see on the bench?
I think you've seen of late. I mean, think back to the Hearts game, Diomande off the bench, when the game becomes a bit broken, it's a bit scattered, a bit of a basketball game. I think that's when you see him at his best, when he's got space to sort of get those big sort of rangy legs of his moving. You know, I think he's been good, really good in some of the recent derby wins. But I think Rangers are going to want to use their power. They've added some real physicality to the team in January. We think of Robbins, Chukwuani, Nadiri, even Scott Olsen's on the taller side. So I can imagine Rangers, especially set pieces, which will be a big facet of the game. I think they want to make use of that. I think the bench will be crucial, but I do think Diomande and Gassama this season, their best performances have been as impact players, sort of coming on late on in games. And we even saw in the win at over Hearts, you know, it was Diomande and Gassama that sort of lead the charge for Chernetti's hat-trick goal. So I imagine that's the sort of role that Danny Rowe will have earmarked for those two guys.
Those two. Well, what about you, Scott? Because Andy's, give me your midfield too, but then Andy's moving us on to the wingers. Olsen, a lot of criticism. He hasn't lived up to the hype, certainly so far. He's obviously, we know that he didn't have a lot of games time. So would you start Olsen? What about Gassama? Would you bench him? And who's your midfield?
It's difficult because a few of the players you mentioned were poor at the weekend. You have to say that. Scott Olsen getting taken off at half time, did nothing for 45 minutes again against the bottom side in the league. However, Scott Olsen and Chukwuani were signed for games like this. This was the reason they were brought in January. Big money spent in Chukwuani. In terms of Scott Olsen, I mean, there's a loan fee involved. Rangers have got a deal in place to go and try and sign this guy in the summer if they wish. For a substantial fee, you have to say, and people might be questioning that at the moment. But I think they have to play. Chukwuani, I was really impressed with his first few games, and I thought this boy's going to be a top player for Rangers, and I have to stick by that. But he was disappointing on Sunday. Livingston away, his physicality and his power, those are the types of games you're looking for him to dominate the middle of the park. I didn't feel as if he did that on Sunday. It was, his passing wasn't in, his touch wasn't in, couldn't get control of the game. He was eventually subbed as well. But I do think him and Raskin will start. I agree with Andy. Diomande maybe is a wee bit unlucky, but will probably find himself on the bench again. And in terms of the wide players, Mikey Moore has to play. Scott Olsen again, because I think he's been signed for days like this, has to play. So it probably means Gassama, who again was poor on Sunday, he'll probably need to start on the bench. And I agree with Andy as well. I do think Gassama, he is a good impact player. When teams are tired and it gets to the last 20 minutes of games, he's a guy that can really hurt you with his pace and his dribbling ability and his running power, especially in the counter-attack. So, who knows what will happen between now and the weekend. Don't know how fit these guys are in terms of if anybody's picked up knocks, but at the moment, I think he'll go with a similar team that played against Hearts, and it'll be that kind of 4-4-2, Moore and Olsen. Whether they play wide or not, I would imagine they play inside again. Nadiri, Shamiti up front, with Raskin and Chukwuani sitting.
Just to go back to what you're saying there, Scott Olsen, I mean, it was that deal was sort of hyped and the fans were so excited about it, and clearly he hadn't played, basically only played for 3 months before he came here.
Mm-hmm.
But are you now thinking that deal, in terms of being made permanent, I think it's an £8 million fee that they would have to shell out? Do you think they might be having second thoughts about that? Is there now a scenario where that deal doesn't take place?
I think as it stands right now, Andy, you'd need to say, aye, they'll be having second thoughts about it, because you need to caveat it, by talking about his fitness and his match sharpness, as you say. Hasn't played a lot of football. You can tell he's still finding his feet in Scotland. Still getting used to his new surroundings, new teammates. But he was signed. Rangers knew that when they signed him. He was signed, and I know they'll say, it's again for the future. But they signed him in January because they needed him to make an impact now. I mean, he was the guy in an attacking sense they thought could get them over the line in the title race, since they'd get back into it. And at the moment, as harsh as it might be, you need to say he's not done that. He's not shown enough to show you that he's going to impact and influence.
There's been a couple of moments, but that's all they are moments, aren't
they? Fleeting moments. That one obviously against Kelly when he scored. And then I thought his cross for the Shamite second goal for the header against Hearts was brilliant. But I mean, he looked disinterested Sunday. I don't know whether it was the venue, the plastic pitch, but he just looked disinterested.
I did think about that myself, because the pitch undoubtedly looked tricky. I mean, he wasn't the only one that sort of struggled on it. I thought Raskin looked uncomfortable, but you're thinking if he's come from Denmark, he's played with Michelin. I need to double check, but I'm pretty sure they play with plastic pitches over there. So I mean, this can't be a new experience for him.
No, listen, he might still have a big impact in this title race if he is finding his feet and he feels he's getting better week on week. He could still come to the fore in this running, but 10 games to go. He has to get a move on for Rangers' sake. And I think if Danny Rowe was to start, just say Danny Rowe was to start him and Chukwuani on the bench, that would raise serious questions about why these guys were signed. If you're getting into arguably the biggest game of the season so far, and you've got a £4 million midfielder, potentially an £8 million winger on the bench for these games, he has to start them.
So that's been the big complaint about Rangers for a number of years now. Is whenever they sign somebody, they end up going back to the guys who have tried and failed, tried to let them down before. If they're doing that again, then I think Scott's right. I think that's a bad, ominous sign for again the guys that are doing the sort of recruitment at the club. You had a second go at signing guys this season. If they still can't get the job done, then something maybe more drastic has to happen in that level.